Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Katie Walton. We'll begin in a couple minutes, but I'm going to give people some time to join our webinar today, where we're going to be talking about the Traveler statewide digital resources. So first, what is Traveler? Traveler is a collection of 94 databases available for free to every Arkansas citizen. They include ProQuest, World Book encyclopedias, Mango languages, info-based science, ABC-Clio, and Learning Express Library. They're funded through IMLS, ESSER, and CARES Act grants, primarily IMLS, but in the last couple of years, ESSER and CARES Act grants have added some wonderful resources to the collection. And they are easily accessible anywhere in the state. You can access them from your home, your school, your library, just on your phone, and they contain good, reputable information. This is not Wikipedia. So you might be asking yourself, well, how can my patrons or my students access the Traveler resources? And we have two main ways. The first option is just to point them to the state library's webpage. You'll go to library.arkansas.gov, where we have all of our digital resources readily available for everyone. The second option is to post the databases on your library's webpage. This personalizes them a little bit, especially if you already own some other resources. You can integrate the resources that you subscribe to with the resources that Traveler provides. It allows you to gather usage statistics as well. And all you have to do is just email me at katie.walton@ade.arkansas.gov, and I will send you all of those URLs and just let you know how to post those on your own webpage. And today what we're going to look at are all of a little bit of each of the resources. I'm going to start first with some of our newer ones, which include InfoBase's Science Bundle, Science Online, and Today's Science. Then we're going to take a look at ABC-Clio. There are 12 social studies databases included in with ABC-Clio, including some educator support. Also School Library Connection, which provides professional development videos and tutorials for librarians. We're going to take a look at Learning Express Library, which provides hundreds of college entrance exams, career certification prep, and skills improvement tutorials. We'll look at World Book Online, Mango Languages, ProQuest Central, which is a broad database on a multitude of topics. And finally, we'll take a look at eBook Central. All right, so to get to the databases, you're going to go to library.arkansas.gov, which is the state library's webpage. Then you will click the red resources tile. And that will bring you to our digital resources page where you have some options. And we've got our databases collected in a couple different ways. The first is the databases by subject list, which is exactly what it sounds like. If you're looking for science resources or history resources, you just click on that subject area and we've got them all grouped together. Or if you know exactly what you're looking for, you can head to the databases A to Z list, which is an alphabetical listing of all of our resources. And I would be remiss if I didn't also tell you to make sure and check out the Traveler resource guides. This is where we collect all of our webinars, our training videos, our tutorials, LibGuides on using the resources. So if you forget everything I've said today, that's a good place to go. All right, so let's dive right in. I'm going to start first with Science Online. This is our new resource. We just got it in August. And Science Online provides overview essays on key science topics, self-paced learning modules, experiments, lots of images, videos, and biographies on scientists. It's a wonderful, wonderful resource. Great for students and teachers who need some supplemental resources for their class, as well as just the novice learner who wants to brush up on some of their science facts. So let's take a look at Science Online and see what they have to offer. All right, and if we look just at the front page here, you'll find that they do like to highlight some e-learning modules, which are um, self-paced lessons. We've got lots of videos and animations. I'm going to click on sources here just because I think that'll give you a good idea of the sort of information that they provide. While that's loading, I'll go ahead and just point out some of the things you can find here. They've got books, including encyclopedia articles, and you can access the entire book or just different entries. You're going to have a lot of images, some of which come from places such as Cambridge Educational, BBC, the American Museum of Natural History, lots of other videos, and all of these reinforce visual learning to stimulate interest. Let's see. I'm going to click on, go ahead and just do a quick search. Oh, there we go. It took us long enough. But again, I mentioned some books. Here you can see that they're discussing 65,000 articles, and the books are updated very frequently. Here we've got publication dates of 2021, 2020. So this is not old information. They're making sure to stay up to date on the most recent scientific information. I'm going to click on the images, and again, you'll see, you know, the image count here. We've got lots of images from NASA that you can use in your class or that students can use in projects. Here's one of Buzz Aldrin. So again, that is Science Online. And I'm going to do, a quick search as we're talking about Buzz Aldrin. Let's take a look at if I wanted to find resources on space exploration. So here under space exploration, they've given me 452 articles. I've got some experiments, lots of images and diagrams, as well as videos, and even some news. So if I was doing some sort of a project or even a story time on space, this might be a really good place to go. So again, that's Science Online. Next, we're going to take a look at Infobase's Today's Science. Now, where Science Online is going to give you a lot of supplemental materials for class, Today's Science really bridges the gap between the science taught in the classroom and the science students hear and read about in the news. It covers content spanning important advances in biology, chemistry, environmental science, space, physics, technology, and computer science. And it will help everyone comprehend and analyze real-world science while increasing critical thinking skills. So it kind of takes things one step further. Let's a couple other things that they provide, articles discussing science in the news, lots of conversations with scientists, curated research topics, crossword puzzles, and editorial cartoons with discussion questions. So again, it's not just going to show you a diagram of the cell, it's going to say, why is that important to me today? All right, so when I click on Today's Science, it's going to have some of their featured resources, a few of which I mentioned earlier. Let's see here. I'm going to use that space exploration topic again. All right, so here they've got 124 articles on space exploration. I love the conversations with scientists. They take experts in the field and they ask them questions. They also ask them why they became scientists. So if you're really wanting to promote science to your students or your patrons, this is a wonderful resource to use. We've got a bunch of encyclopedia articles and even some editorial cartoons. I'm going to take a look at one of these encyclopedia articles. One thing I didn't mention before with Science Online is that with all of their articles, you also have a lot of nice ways to save or share that information. So here I can save it, I can share it, I can get the citation, which students really enjoy anytime they can get help with those citations. I can have it read aloud to me, and then I can also highlight certain terms. And if you are using Google Classroom, you can share it to Google Classroom as well. So again, that's today's science. There's a lot in there, and I recommend that everybody take a look and see what they can find. Now, I haven't checked the chat. Are there any questions so far on today's science or Science Online? It doesn't look like it. I do see a lot of email addresses being listed in the chat. Again, if you need any professional development credit, please give me your name and email address and school, and we'll make sure and send you a certificate so you get credit for attending our session today. This was somebody asked, is this for high school age or is this college or both? Under the curriculum for the curriculum standards for today's science and Science Online, they both start with middle school as far as matching those curriculum standards and then go up. So they have curriculum standards for, I think, 6th grade through 12, but then it can definitely be used in high school, college, and beyond. That's a great question, Camille. Thank you. All right, so let's move on now to ABC-Clio. Now, ABC-Clio is one that we got in November. This was purchased through ESSER funding. And I have to give a shout out to Cassandra Barnett, who worked really hard to get these. So we have the Department of Education to thank for the ABC-Clio databases. And they include 12 social studies databases on American government, American history, US and world geography, health and wellness issues, pop culture issues, African American history, Native American history, Latino American history, ancient and medieval history, and modern history. So there's a lot. If you are a history teacher or if you are providing some sort of information on history topics, this is a really great place to go. Let's see, so I'm going to click on ABC-Clio. I want to point out one thing before we move on. This is the database, but let me go to our database listing. And again, I'm going to click on the red resources tile and databases A to Z. And you'll see we have two different entries for ABC-Clio. We have the search platform and we have the educator support platform. The search platform are the databases as is. And if you are working with students or patrons, this is probably what you want to use. The educator support platform is going to give you a lot of extra information. They'll give you lesson plans, train the trainer videos, some tutorials. So if you are planning to use ABC-Clio in your class or in your library, this might be a good place for you to prepare yourself for the best way to use ABC-Clio. So I just wanted to point that out, that there is a slight difference between those. And I will take a look at the educator support platform a little bit more in a second. So let's head back to those databases, shall we? So again, here are all the databases listed individually. And I am going to click on American government. So let's get an example of what that looks like. All right, so you can explore by themes, and then you can also just search the database. So I think I'm going to search for the First Amendment. All right, and notice here that I'm going to click on the first entry on the First Amendment. One thing I like about ABC-Clio is that they always try to refer you to other things. So if this is where you're starting, well, then maybe I want to look at some of these other articles that they have here on the left to continue learning about this topic. So you can really start one place and branch out to others, and that's really nice. But here they're giving me a very nice article overview of the First Amendment with lots of other links to different entries that they've got in the platform. And similar to Science Online and Today's Science, I can save it, I can email it, I can print it, I can get a hyperlink, I can cite it, and I can listen to it. So lots of good options there. They even let you translate this page to another language if needed. All right. So that was just kind of how to search. Let's go back to American government, and this time I wanted to browse by theme. So I'm going to click on American government, or sorry, here we're in American government. I'm going to click on legislative branch. Then I would like to look at congressional districts. Now, when you browse by theme, they sometimes give you some extra information that just doing a keyword search doesn't give you. If you look here to the left, this is what I'm talking about. So here first, if you want to learn about congressional districts, which there's a lot to unpack with congressional districts, they give you a good overview essay of the topic, why it's important. Then we've got some topic essentials where experts in the field are going to give you short little video clips about that topic. So again, if you are using this in a classroom, I know we're talking a lot about teachers right now. I know I'll hit the other types of libraries a little more heavily in a second. But if you're using this resource in the classroom, these might be wonderful clips to include in your lessons. And they're short. They provide transcripts. I won't click on one, but just trust me. Here we have activities. There's usually at least one, sometimes two or three, where they ask a question, and then they lead students into how to answer that question, what sort of information they ought to be looking at to draw an educated conclusion. And then here on that topic library, again, these are other similar topics on this issue. So if you wanted to kind of branch out, look at what the census, which is coming out, those results coming out today. Let's see what the census has to do with those congressional districts. So again, that is ABC-Clio. I'm going to head home. Because one question you might have is you might not know which of these databases to search. And if you're not sure where to start, let me click back. I'm going to go. Oh, here, I'm trying to get to all the databases. Here we go. So as I was saying, if you aren't sure where to start, one thing I recommend is, this is kind of the home page where we started at the very beginning. I recommend going ahead and starting your search here. For example, if I wanted to find information on the Little Rock 9, I can press search. And it is going to list the number of resources in each of the individual ABC-Clio databases. So it's saying that there is information to be found in several of them, but if I really want to find some good information on the Little Rock 9, it looks like the African American experience is the database that I want to go to, since they have 262 resources just on the Little Rock 9. So then when I click on the African American experience, it is then showing me those results. And here we've got an entire entry on the Little Rock 9. We've got information on Daisy Bates, the Little Rock desegregation crisis, lots of great information on this topic. And again, from here, they're going to provide me with other resources that might be helpful to me, other photos and illustrations, and I can cite, email, print, save that information. So that's the search platform, just the database for ABC-Clio. But I'm going to head back and we're going to take a quick look at the educator support platform. And again, this is a good place to go if you're a teacher or a librarian and you're looking for information on how to best share ABC-Clio with your students or your patrons. So here we'll have just a list of all the databases that will take you straight to what we were looking at just a second ago. If you are interested in any upcoming trainings, they'll list those there. The on-demand PD is videos of past trainings that ABC-Clio has provided. This also gives a direct link to School Library Connection, which I'm not going to really dig into today, but it's what it sounds like. It's got a lot of tutorials and videos and information on the latest trends for school librarians, or if you're a children's librarian, this might be a really good place for you to go. But I want to head into that educator support site. All right, so here they're going to highlight some things such as more topic centers, research lists, webinars. They've got lots of train the trainer type videos, how to use those resources, what each database provides. So let's see here. I am going to click on select support site, and my Zoom's getting in the way. There we go. And I want to go to the Latino American experience. So from here, they're going to give me curriculum support specifically for this database in ABC-Clio. They do like to highlight some new content there at the beginning, but I am going to click on curriculum resources. And so here is where you'll find planning resources, lesson plans for teachers, and activities for students. And again, I'm focusing a lot on teachers, but if you are a public librarian or an academic librarian, you can certainly amend these resources to work for your students or your patrons as well. Then they also let you browse by time period, so you can find lots of information specifically for those time periods and how you can use that in your classroom. So again, that is the educator support site in ABC-Clio. I don't see any more questions in the chat, but if you think of anything, I'll certainly address those at the end. So next, we are going to take a look at Learning Express Library. Now, I'll tell you right now that I will give entire presentations on Learning Express Library and still only scratch the surface. So we're not going to dig too far into it, but more than anything, I just want you to know it exists because it's so good. Learning Express Library is an online resource with college entrance exams, career certification exams, and general skills improvement. It also has a job and career accelerator section, which provides career match guidance, information on occupations, resume builders, a job search portal, and tutorials on lots of different topics, such as interviewing, networking, and writing cover letters. So let's take a look at that really quickly. All right. One thing I want to point out is that Learning Express has 3 different platforms, and that can be kind of confusing, but it's actually not as bad as you might think. The public library platform is going to have all of the resources available. So if you're a little unsure of where to start, you might want to start with the public library platform, even if you're part of a different type of library. You'll see all of these tiles, they call those centers. And so any information that we have in Learning Express, you can find on the public library platform. Now, if you switch over to the college library or high school library platforms, what they're doing is they're taking all of the resources available for the public library platform and only pulling out the ones specifically for college and for high school. So especially when it comes to career certification prep, if I go to the high school library section, it's really going to focus on career certification that you can get with a high school diploma or a GED. Same thing with the college library. It's going to focus on things like the MCAT and the GRE. So that's just a little bit of the difference. If you are part of a college or a high school, then I definitely recommend just pointing your students straight to those places. If not, the public library platform is a good place to start. So let's just take a second to kind of look at each of these centers. Those will give you a good idea of the sort of things that they cover. So we've got career preparation, where they're going to have lots of different exam prep and just basic information on different careers. The Job and Career Accelerator is where you'll find tools such as resume builders and tutorials on how to interview. The High School Equivalency Center will provide tutorials on GED or other high school equivalency exams. Prepare for College is where you're going to get your college entrance exams, tutorials on life skills when you go to college. School Center is going to be a good place for elementary and middle school students because it's going to provide some general skills prep in some of the core subject areas such as English, science, reading, things like that. And we've got another here tile here for college students, lots of life skills, adult core skills like computer skills or budgeting. We've got some basic computer skills, all of which are created by Microsoft. Here's a section specifically for Spanish speakers, including test prep for the green card exam and citizenship exams, and then also some personal success skills. So you can see there's a wide range of topics in Learning Express. Just to give you an example, I'm going to click on Prepare for College, because I think a lot of what really appeals to people are some of these college entrance exams that they have available, such as the ACT, the SAT, AP exams, things of that sort. So I'm going to click on ACT. And so here is just one exam and one example of what Learning Express has to offer. They have an entire guided tutorial unit program on just how to take the test first, including tutorials about each section of the ACT, and then they have practice tests on each of the sections, as well as a complete simulated practice test. And they have, I believe, about 4 or 5 of those complete exams. So if you know somebody who's working on the ACT, this might be a really good place to go, because not only are they going to give you those practice tests, they're also going to take your results and give you suggestions on ways to improve on those exams. So it's very tailor-made to each person. I'll also point out that they've got some flashcards and they've got some eBooks. So lots of great information here. One thing that's a little bit different about Learning Express from some of the other resources we've looked at so far is that it is recommended that you register for an account. And the reason for that is that they want you to be able to save your progress as you go along. All that's needed is an email address and then for you to create a password. They don't share that with anybody. That's just in case you forget your password, but that is, again, not shared with anyone. I'm going to go ahead and log in. And so here you can see what they call My Center, which are different tests and tutorials and ebooks that I've started and stopped. So if I wanted to go right back into this tutorial, they have saved my progress for me. So again, that is just a good reason of why to register in Learning Express. Now, before we move on, let's then take a look at the Job and Career Accelerator. This is going to be especially helpful maybe for the public librarians out there. If you are helping any of your patrons find a job or really build that resume or get those soft skills, the Job and Career Accelerator is a great place to go. Let's see, I'm going to click on Explore Occupations. You can see here that we do have the resumes and job letters builder there. So let's see, Explore Occupations is also a good place, I would say, for high school like guidance counselors or librarians. Here they are going to go into extreme depth on some of these different occupations. I'm going to launch the career tool for in-demand occupations. We're just going to find one of these just so we can take a look at what they have to offer. So let's take a look at education, and then I'm going to go to child care workers. So here's a whole entry on child care workers. And they'll start with a little video of what that career is, what it entails, and then look at all of the different information they have on this career. And you saw the list of how long that was a second ago. They really go into a lot of depth. So if you have somebody that's considering a career in childcare, they can take a look at the wages and the trends. I can even change that to Arkansas. So they can take a look at the average salary in Arkansas, the number of people employed, the projected growth. I really like when they take a look at education and training, especially, when it comes to like nursing or allied health. A lot of people don't know how much education it takes for some of these different careers. So they'll lay out exactly what you need to know, what education you need to have, what technology you'll need to be comfortable with. So again, that's the Explore Occupations section of the Job and Career Accelerator, excuse me. So again, that's just one little part of Learning Express. I definitely recommend that everybody take some time and take a look themselves. Let's see, I don't see any questions in the chat, but if you think of anything, please go ahead and add those in. But again, that is Learning Express. So next, we are going to take a look at Worldbook. And I know a lot of you out there are probably thinking like, Worldbook, I know what that is. But if you haven't spent a lot of time in Worldbook online, I definitely recommend you take a look, because chances are it's got more than you think. We're all familiar with Worldbook. That is the encyclopedias that we've all used since we were young. But Worldbook Online also just provides general reference tools for students. It includes easy to read encyclopedia articles, illustrations, videos, interactive maps, science experiments, and over 200 games and activities. And there are separate platforms for varying age ranges. I'm going to click on Worldbook Online and we'll take a look at those different platforms. So here, this is what we call the Worldbook platform. And it's got a tile for each of their different products. So early learning is going to be most appropriate for pre-K students. We've got one for kids that's good for early elementary school. Then student is going to be grades 5 and up, and then advanced would be for grades 9 and up. I'm going to take just a second and go back to the library's A to Z page. I'm going to jump down to the W's just so you can take a look at the way we've got it separated here. So this is the portal that we were just looking at. It's going to show you all of the different Worldbook products. But if you know specifically you need Worldbook Advanced or Worldbook eBooks, Worldbook Kids, those are separated out as well. So I did just want everyone to know that. All right, but let's head back in here. I am going to go to Worldbook Student. Actually, I take that back. I wanted to go to Worldbook Kids. Well, and this is a good opportunity to show if you ever go to the wrong place. One way to quickly get to one of the other tools is to scroll down to the bottom of the page, and you see at the very bottom left, it says Your Resources. And so I can jump back to Worldbook Kids where I meant to go. All right, so here's just a quick example of some of those different types of resources within Worldbook Online that you might not expect to find. So we've got a whole entry on animals. They've got different activities, different games. So if you have students that come to your library after school and you need some educational games for them, that might be a good option for you to have those set up on your public computers, or maybe you have some time at the end of your class. They've also got those activities. the science projects, and then even a dictionary integrated within the product. So again, lots of great information that a lot of people forget can be part of WorldBook. So I'm going to click on that Your Resources tile. And let's take a look at WorldBook Advanced. So this is going to be the one that's best for grades 9 and up. It's going to have your straightforward encyclopedia articles. Let's see here. So I'm going to do a search for Olympics. Now, I spent a lot of time watching the Olympics last week and the week prior. So here is my entry on Olympics. And I mentioned tools and some of the other products we've looked at. But if I click on that little cog, you'll see we've got similar tools. This will let me change the way I can view it. I believe, yes, so I can have it in a section or one single page. I can save it. I can share it with others. I can print it. I can get those citations. I can translate the text, change the text size, highlight terms. And then one of the tips that it was just giving, which is my favorite to show to people, is that if you are in WorldBook Online, and this is in any of the platforms they have, if a student or patron comes across a word that they don't know, let's say competition, they can double click that word and it brings up the encyclopedia entry, or I'm sorry, the dictionary and definition of that word. So they really try to make sure that students and patrons alike can be prepared for success in any way. Here you can also listen to it, which again is going to be very helpful if you have any struggling readers or somebody who's more of an auditory learner. Here at the top, I can look at related information. So here are other primary sources that they have available when it comes to the Olympics, other encyclopedia articles, websites, magazines, those curriculum standards. And then one thing that's great about WorldBook is that they also try to always provide that Lexile number, which I know is very important for school teachers. So if you have anybody who's doing some sort of a project or a paper on the Olympics, again, this WorldBook is great about giving you one entry and then also providing other possible resources that could work for your paper. And they don't necessarily even have to be WorldBook encyclopedia articles. They can also be lots of other primary sources that could work for your students. So that is WorldBook. One other thing that I want to show you in WorldBook is the WorldBook eBooks, because a lot of people don't know that WorldBook provides these. And they're really nice looking eBooks, primarily for children, but there are some things for upper grades, high school, that age. But you can tell from the covers that this is going to be primarily for kids. I'm going to click on this one about beagles. And it's very simple. I just open it up and I can navigate these pages and I have access to it right here on my computer. I do have the option, you can download some of these, but I think the easiest thing is to just read it online. And then some of them also will have, you can read it along, I'm sorry, you can listen to it along with the text. Not all of those have them, but that is a wonderful tool if that's something you're looking for. And with these, I can take a look at the table of contents. I can search within that book. I can mark it up. And they'll even do like sticky notes and highlights. So they really try to help students out, especially if they're using it for, scholarly purposes. So that is WorldBook eBook. One thing I recently learned, thanks to a question from a teacher out there, is, let me head back home. She was wondering how you filter titles by grade. And we discovered how to do that together. You can click on this magnifying glass, which is the search. And this would be where you just generally do a keyword search. But also you can filter your results here by publisher, book title, things of that sort. But it's interest level, where I can change the grades here. So if I just wanted resources for K through 5, if I wanted grades 9 through 12, I can filter my results. So if you are looking for titles specifically for your for a specific age range, that's a good little tip to remember. So again, that's World Book eBook. One little tip I'll give about this is that if there's a particular book, a specific book that you want your students to look up, I usually recommend that you send them to World Book and then give them the title of the book that they're looking for. And I will say the same thing about eBook Central, which we're going to look at in a second, because our authentication system doesn't work as well with hyperlinks to specific books. But if you'll just point them to World Book eBook and then teach them how to do that search, then they can find the specific titles that you want them to find. All right, no questions in the chat about that. But again, if you think of anything, please let me know. And now we're going to move on to Mango Languages. And this is probably the most fun of all the resources we have. Mango Languages is our language learning resource. So if you are wanting to learn a new language, or if you have students or patrons who are wanting to improve their English skills, this is a wonderful place for them to go. Mango Languages has self-paced courses in over 70 languages. And then they also have English as a second language courses for 20 native languages. They also have career-specific courses such as Spanish for librarians or Spanish for doctors. So if you are a librarian out there and you just wanted to know enough Spanish to be able to smoothly check out a book or give out a new library card, well, then maybe you just want to work on those specific skills and those for specific conversations. And Mango can do that for you too. Like Learning Express, this is one where they're going to ask you to register for an account. Looks like it just jumped right into the account that, that I'm in right now. But that's because they want you to be able to keep track of your progress. So it's another instance where you're just going to register with your personal email address and a password. But I'm going to click, so right, again, it started me back where I was learning lesson 1 of Spanish. But I'm going to click on Spanish Latin American so you can get a better idea of some of the languages they have available. So here it's taking a look at the recent languages I've viewed, as well as some of the more popular languages. It's going to let me resume my lesson that I was working on. But one thing I did want to point out again is this section on English. Because it may be that you have a trip coming and you want to go to a foreign language. That's one purpose. But maybe you have patrons who don't know English as well or really want to brush up on their skills. Well, Mango Languages is going to have different entries in those languages. So the courses will be in that native language, or as they're saying, mother tongue. So the patrons can choose, say, Mandarin or Cantonese, and then those lessons will be for them in English. So definitely something to point out for your patrons or your students or just anyone in your life that you think might benefit from that. So here again, it was in the middle of a Spanish lesson. If you want to take a look to the left to see kind of what sort of things they're discussing, each of these different units are actually quite extensive. So here, just on the introductions, you can see they've got 7 different lessons, as well as a listening activity, a reading activity, and a recap. And then they've got and then it continues on from there. So there's quite a bit in each of these units, and they get longer the further along you go. So, you know, here I'm in just the first unit on introductions, but if I'm do enough into like community, well, then they're going to have 18 different lessons on friends and relationships and how to carry on conversations. And then if we look again to the left, here are some of those specialty units that I was mentioning before. So they've got Spanish for librarians, they've got business, legal, romance. You know, got to do what you got to do. So if you are interested in someone who is a Spanish speaker and you want to brush up on your romance in that language, well, then there you go. They've got a specialty unit for you. All right, so again, that is Mango Languages. It's a lot of fun, and it's just a really great resource that will help you learn a new language. So next, we are going to go to ProQuest Central. Now, ProQuest Central may be the one that most of you are aware of. I saved it for last because I felt like it was the resource that we usually cover the most, because it's usually the one I point people to first. ProQuest Central allows you to search 47 different databases at one time, covering over 175 different subject areas. So it's a really great place to start for any academic journal articles or basic research. So I'm going to click on ProQuest Central. Now, again, if you just start with ProQuest Central, they're going to search all of their databases at one time, but I can click here on Change Databases, and this will let you take a look at everything that you're searching in case you want to only search certain ones. So I'm just going to kind of slowly scroll so you can take a look and see just everything that you're searching. And each one of those is an entire database in its own right. Also, just to let you know the way it's separated out on our web page, I'm going to jump back to the State Library's A to Z list. Where you'll find, if I jump to the P's, we've got ProQuest Central here, but then we also have each of those databases split out. So if you know exactly what you're looking for, you want to go to that public health database, you can go to our A to Z list and go straight to the public health database. Or you can start at ProQuest Central and scroll down to public health. And here I could just decide to only search that one database. So there are a few different ways you can do that. I'm just going to search everything. And for my example, I'm going to use the Little Rock 9 again. And mostly I just want you to see the type of information that you're going to find here in ProQuest Central. And a search for the Little Rock 9 brought up over 1 million results. So this is why I usually tell people start at ProQuest Central. It's gonna have what you want. The trick is narrowing it down to exactly what you need. And that's where filtering out your results is really going to help. Most of those filters are going to be here to the left. So right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and click full text, which means it's going to give me the full article, not just an abstract. We're down at almost 900,000 results. Let me go ahead and click peer reviewed too, especially in assignments for class. Professors and teachers will often require peer reviewed articles. So I can go ahead and click that right off the bat. So now we're down to 69,000 results. Can also narrow it down by source type. Say I only wanted scholarly journals, or I was looking for something from a specific magazine or conference. And then I can narrow it down by publication date. You'll see there are lots of different filters here. But I'm going to go ahead just for time's sake and choose one of these resources. Let's just go click on that first one. So here first it will give me an abstract followed by the full text PDF. So this is going to be the way it appeared in the journal. And also related items off to the right. For example, it looks like this one's just a movie review. That might not be the article I'm looking for, or I could click on one of these here to the right, and it might give me an article that works a little bit better. So say, for example, now I am on one specifically about Little Rock Central High teachers. And maybe that was more the direction that I wanted to go. So I like that they let you kind of take a quick glance, see if it's what you want. And if not, they really pull out those related items to the right. Now, once I find an article that I want, I have, again, those tools that we've seen in other places. I can download this PDF, I can cite it, I can email it to myself, I can print it. Under all options, I get lots of different options for Google Drive, Google Classroom, OneDrive. If you're those citation builders, if you're using RefWorks or EasyBib. So really helpful tools there to make sure that you can save everything once you've found it. So again, that's ProQuest Central. And it's usually where I tell people to start when they are starting their scholarly research or looking for information on scholarly topics. I've been talking about it a lot in scholarly academic terms, but another great resource for this is if you are a public librarian and someone is asking you a reference question, they're going to have some really up-to-date scholarly information. And so you can provide someone with these things that have been published in peer-reviewed journals and aren't just coming from the web. So that's another really wonderful reason you want to remember ProQuest Central in the future. All right, so again, I don't see any questions in the chat. So really the last resource I wanted to look at today is another ProQuest resource, and that's eBook Central. So much like WorldBook had its eBook platform, eBook Central is ProQuest platform. Now eBook Central has over 100,000 scholarly ebooks. It's on a wide range of audiences, and one thing that I do like to mention is that there are resources for students, and when I say students, I mean like juvenile age, integrated within eBook Central. It's just a little bit harder to find those, but they are mixed in with things for high school and college and even postgraduate work. Lots of really great information in eBook Central. All right. So let's continue with that example of Little Rock 9. And here we've got 44,000 books about Little Rock 9. Now, I did mention that there are some books for students. You can tell just from the platform, it's really not meant for students in the same way that WorldBook ebook is. But if you do want to find resources specifically for younger grades, one thing that I usually recommend is typing out your search term and then adding the word juvenile. I like to say and juvenile, because that's the term that they usually use when pulling out or identifying books for younger students. Let's see here. It didn't work as well. Here, let's try. Should have worked. I'm going to put those in quotations. Maybe I need to keep that phrase. There we go. So that's an example of sometimes you need, if you aren't getting the results you need, you want to put that in quotations. So here we've got books specifically for younger readers covering the Little Rock 9. So that's just a little trick I like to let people know if they are school teachers or if they're if the person looking for a book is younger. But let's just go back to Little Rock 9. All right. So here we have a book specifically about Daisy Bates. I'm going to open that up. Now with eBook Central, you can download some pages. Each of the publishers are a little different. For example, this one you can get up to 83 pages. I often see closer to like 45 or 50 pages. So it may only be like a chapter at a time. I usually recommend that people just go ahead and read it online because or you can download the book, which does require some third-party software, but that's an option for you as well. But if you just read it online, they make it pretty simple for you. You've got the table of contents here to the left. I can search within that book if there's a certain term I want to find. And then we have, again, some of these really great tools where we can highlight, we can keep different notes, we can have bookmarks. And then if there is, if you want to print some pages, they will let you print a limited number of pages. So again, that's eBook Central. It's just open to everybody. I like to let people know that that is available, and another wonderful place to go to get ebooks or to look for your scholarly research. All right. So again, we're going to find everything in this presentation. Library.arkansas.gov. I am going to post this recording on our Traveler Resource Guides page, but also I'm going to go over it just one more time in case you've forgotten. I'm going to show you where everything is. If you're at library.arkansas.gov, you want to head to that red resources tile. Then head either to the databases by subject or the A to Z list. And then also, I mentioned the Traveler Resource Guides. Let's just take a look at that page. Again, here's where you're going to find tutorials and videos, LibGuides on all of the resources that we've talked about today. So it's a really good place to go if you want to find a little bit more information on some of these resources. All right, and then if you have any questions whatsoever, or if you want to link to some of these resources on your library's webpage, just email me at katie.walton@ade.arkansas.gov, or you can give me a call, and I am happy to help in any way that I can. But again, this has been the Traveler Statewide Digital Resources. I'm Katie Walton, and I appreciate everybody out there.